What is going on, guys? This is All Gaming with my review of Black Bullet episode 4, and this episode I enjoyed it so freaking much. To me it was definitely good, and I kinda wish that fight between Rentaro and Kagetane, I do wish that fight was a bit longer, but overall it was pretty enjoyable. And this episode, it had a lot in there. But the episode itself, it starts off with our characters here. We see them standing on this cliff, and of course we know that in this abandoned city, that's where Kagetane is. And so we see now that Kale, I believe that's how you say her name, she went on staying back because we see all these like red glowing out in this forest, and of course those right there are the Gastrea. So she was saying that she's actually gonna stay back and fight them all, because even if they do beat Kagetane, then they'll definitely, get finished off by all the Gastrea in the place. So now Rentaro and Inju, they left her to fight all the Gastrea by herself. But she did say that she'll run if she was at a disadvantage. So that right there, kind of gave them the okay, to push onward. And we see now that when they did go down to this city and they're walking around, we see all these dead bodies. And then we see Shogun as well. He's now walking around asking if they seen his sword. And then out of nowhere, we see him collapse. And we see now that his sword is now impaled in his back. So I'm not sure if he's actually alive or dead, but they were saying that he was actually alive. So it's possible that he is terribly injured, but he survived getting attacked by Kagetane and Kohina. And so now we see Kisara. She now goes to where the ruler is and all her men, and of course they're like watching over the operation on this holographic map. And so we actually learned, we actually do learn a lot about Kisara Pass, and we also learn about the operation that Rentaro got. So we actually learned that when Kisara was younger, her family was attacked by the Gastrea, and of course, they killed her parents. But Rentaro, he actually protected her, and at the cost, he lost an arm and a leg and one of his eyes as well. But at the same time, he protected her, saved her life. And I believe that he also, kind of gave her the will to live, because she was saying that after her parents were devoured and the stress she felt under that, her kidneys were not even functioning properly, so she was kind of dying. But because Rentaro protected her, I believe that kind of gave her the will to live. But she believed in them, and of course, she thinks that they're going to win. And so we see right away Kagetane. He actually uses that maximum pain attack, and we see now that once again Rentaro here, he actually uses one of his martial arts techniques, and this time he's able to penetrate the maximum pain, and he also hurts Kagetane, and that really kind of surprised me. But then we actually learned the truth about how some of Rentaro limbs, they're actually replaced by the special metal that we all know is really effective against the Gastrea. So even though Kagetane was a part of the new humanity creation plan, Rentaro was as well, because the professor was the one that had worked on him and gave him these artificial limbs. So that right there really surprised me, because I did not see that coming at all. It was definitely a nice little twist in there, and those limbs of his, they look pretty freaking awesome. I'm not gonna lie, I definitely enjoy seeing them in action, because they definitely did work. But we see now that Kagetane, even though he got hurt, he was really into this. He was definitely enjoying the battle. You could just tell that he was getting pretty excited during the fight. And so of course we have Kohina. She definitely not gonna stay in the sidelines, so she also tried to get their attack as well. But we see now the Inju. But of course, these two are kind of going to be fighting. But we see now at one point where I believe they were on the top of this ship. We have Kagetane here. He's focusing on Inju, but it was just to lure in Rentaro. And we see now that he uses some attack of his, where I'm not sure exactly what it did, but I'm pretty sure that he burst open some of his organs inside the body, because we see now that when Rentaro had landed on the ship, he was losing so much freaking blood. And of course, that right there definitely was not looking good for him. But we see now that he used a drug that the professor had gave to him, and even though it came with such a risk, he had to take it, otherwise he'll die from so much blood loss. And so what the drug would do, it would give them the regenerative abilities of the Gastrea, but at the same time there was this 20% chance that he'll also return to a Gastrea as well. So he had to take that gamble, and we see at some point his eyes were like even going red, just like the cursed children do. But luckily he had won, and his organs were healed. And he was now able to fight. And so then we see, you know, like once again, Kagetane here, but like trying to use maximum pain, but this time it did not work. And we see that Rentaro here was able to deliver like this very good blow. It even like cracked his mask and sent him sinking to the bottom of the ship. But I'm pretty sure that even though Kagetane is now gone, I have a feeling that he will be back. There's no way that this guy's gonna be done and gone already. I should definitely not believe that. And so we see that that Koniha, she's like devastated, and Rentaro said that, you know, that she was no longer an enemy. So even though it seems like, you know, things are okay and they won, we actually now have this new threat going on, where we actually see, you know, the stage 5 Gastrea has now appeared in the Tokyo area. So even though you would think that we'll get this peaceful ending, it was not going to be that easy. And so we have Kisara. She had contacted Rentaro, and of course she told him what was going on. And so now they plan on using the Heaven's Ladder. I believe that is what they called it. They have to use that to take down this Gastrea. But when Rentaro and Inju had went there, they couldn't use it right away because there was a problem. There was no rounds in the weapon, so they couldn't fire it. And so I could tell, you know, that like some way this was going to happen. I got, you know, this strange feeling. But Rentaro here, he had no choice but to give up his own arm, and he used that for a round. And that right there, you know, took a lot of guts because that had to be done. But even though the round was loaded, he was so nervous and scared that he could not bring himself to fire it. And thank God for Inju, because she was there, you know, she was his support, and thanks to her, like he was able to calm down, and luckily, you know, they fought it together. And it was awesome the way the animation was when that weapon had fired, because to me that was freaking epic. And so what they fired that, we see now that the Gastrea, it basically, you know, kind of starts, you know, destroying itself, as we see now that it's like cracking and glowing red, and eventually we get this like giant explosion. Now I do know that there were like these boats that were shooting at it before the Heaven Ladder, you know, could hit it. So I do wonder if those ships got caught up in the explosion, because I'm pretty sure, you know, some people, or I'm pretty sure, you know, most of those boats probably got destroyed. Now, if nobody died from that, I'll be, you know, really surprised. But we see now that, you know, after Rentaro had got out, because he left Angie there sleeping in a chair, we see that all these dead Gastreas, they are around where Heaven's Ladder is. And then we see KO. She's there on the ground, you know, like she's really hurt, because we see blood on like one side of her body, and not only that, she's actually missing an arm. And now we see that her corrosion rate, it is raised like over 50%, and we see now that the Gastrea is now taking over and is actually trying to repair her arm. And so now that it's taken over, she actually wants to die as a human. And so Rentaro here has no choice but to kill her, but you could tell that he did not want to, and he's so nervous about that we see that he like kind of like shaking. I really don't like to blame him for that, but we see now that he has no choice, and KO here kind of knows that that's like really nervous about this, and she actually asks him if he has, you know, a lot of friends, which it clearly doesn't, because the only people that we like really see him hang around is Inju and Kisara. So she was saying, you know, that from now on they'll be friends, and sadly he had no choice but to end her life. And that right there, you know, it was like definitely sad. That right there, you know, really got me in the feels, because I actually wanted KO to actually, you know, join them. I wanted Rentaro here to have like two partners rather than one, because obviously Shogun, he definitely does not deserve her. So I actually wanted, you know, KO to stick around and team up with like Rentaro more. But after she was killed, we see now that the helicopters, they're now come to pick them up. And so we see that Rentaro, he actually still didn't have a new arm just yet, but we see that he actually went to go meet up with Kisara's grandfather. Now his name does escape me at the moment, but we see that the person that had leaked out the information, or I believe that the person that had summoned this like stage 5 Gastrea, I believe it was somebody that, you know, that worked with Kisara's grandfather. So right now he's like kind of like responsible. But this guy is definitely, like kind of a monster, because he actually hates the Gastrea, and not only that, but he hates the cursed children as well. Because I believe that the Gastrea itself, it was actually summoned to destroy the Tokyo area, so that this new law, which would give the cursed children a higher status, could not pass. And so the fact that this guy would go to such an extreme length, that right there is crazy. Now I might be quoting that wrong, but at least it's the impression that that I got. So if somebody could correct me on that or not, I really appreciate that. But I just know that he's her grandfather. This guy is a huge dick. And I really hope that that these cursed children, they can obtain a higher social status, because right now they need it, because they are just treated like absolute garbage right now. And so we see, in this one flashback, we have Rentaro. He actually went to go meet up with the ruler. And so he said that he actually, looked in this case where the inheritance was, and we see now that it's just a broken tricycle. And that right there, really struck me as odd, because I was also wondering, how in the world could this be used to summon a stage 5 Gastrea, and and just where are they as well? So that right there, really struck me as odd, and I do hope, at some point that they will go into detail about that, because when Rentaro tried to learn more, she cannot tell him, which kind of sucked. And I also like how they actually give the stage 5 Gastrea these zodiac nicknames, like the one they had dealt with in this episode. It was actually the Scorpio one. So I really want to know if we'll see others as well, because that right there would be awesome, even though it means that they'll be in so much danger. But we see at the end, Rentaro here, he had left from talking with the professor, and we see now that he actually has a new arm, and Inju here asked him about what was her corrosion rate, and Rentaro told her that it was like 24 point something. So basically, it was the same as the last time. But we see at the end that it's actually the reverse of that, where it said like 42%. So right now it's getting really high, and if it get past 50, then we all know what that means for Inju. But I do believe that when they show like some kind of body rate, it was like at some point too. I should really go back and look at that again to make sure, but I just know that right now Inju, she is definitely reaching in that critical red zone that she kind of needs to stay back from. But overall, this episode, it was freaking fantastic. We got a fight that I do wish would have been a lot longer. Well, not a lot longer, but I would have enjoyed it more if it was longer. We got some major story development with that stage 5 Gastrea, and then we got some feels as well with Rentaro and KO, and that ending though as well. It definitely worries me. I want to see what happens next. So overall, I give the episode probably like an 8.5 out of 10. Because like, to me, it definitely deserves that, because this episode is probably the best one that we've seen so far. But as always, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this as well. And please do not forget to like the video and subscribe, because really, that honestly helped me out so freaking much. Like, you guys have no idea. But as always, you guys take it easy, and we'll see you all next time.